I met the cast of Rip It Up. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Martin Meets. It is the 10th of October, Wednesday the 10th of October, and last night I went to see the show Rip It Up the 60s at Bournemouth Pavilion with my mum. A little bit about the show first. It's part of the Strictly family. It's not directly related to Strictly, but it's come out of Strictly. It started last year with a show based on music from the 50s, and last year it starred former Strictly professional Natalie Lowe, and then former Strictly champions Lewis Smith and Jay McGuinness. We went last year. The show was absolutely fantastic. It's basically a story of the music of that decade, with dances set to them in all sorts of styles, the sorts of styles you would see on Strictly. Yeah, as I say, we went last year, had a meet and greet last year, met Natalie, Jay and Lewis. I'll stick a picture in here, show you that. And I'll also stick in a picture of the signed programme that we were given. So, really enjoyed it last year. Hoped that they'd follow it on with the 60s show, and when it was announced, we were very pleased, and immediately when tickets went on sale, booked for Bournemouth, which was the nearest show to us this year. Last year we went to Portsmouth Guildhall. Again, went for a meet and greet option. The cast this year were Lewis Smith again, Harry Judd and Aston Marigold. So that's two former Strictly champions in Lewis and Harry, and Aston, who should have been, well, not necessarily, but is a strong contender for champion last year and got voted out far too early. Yeah, I think that's how I'll phrase it. Really looking forward to the show, because 60s music is definitely a huge love of mine. My favourite eras are mid-90s, particularly Britpop, and then mid to late 60s, the first Britpop, if you like. Beatles, obviously, huge fan of, and so much music from that era, so I was really looking forward to the 60s show. So we had a meet and greet. One bug. Last year was the first time we'd ever done a meet and greet. About 4 or 5 days before I was starting to worry, because we hadn't had instructions. Got in touch with, I think it was Ticketmaster again last year. They said, basically, their general advice on meet and greets is, if you haven't heard anything by 24 hours beforehand, get in touch. So that put my mind at ease a bit, and then 2 days beforehand we had a letter through the post actually with our instructions. So I was expecting similar this year. So we went, yes, last night, which was Tuesday. Hadn't heard anything by Sunday. So Monday morning, day before the show, thought, well, I'll wait for the post. Nothing showed up in the post. So I got in touch with Ticketmaster. Very nice chap, said, I'll get in touch with them, see what's happening. He got back to me, said, oh, they're sending out information later today. So I thought, fine, that puts mind at ease to an extent. Had the computer on all day, with me email up and running. Every time it pinged, quickly turned round. No, still no instructions. Come 6 PM, still hadn't heard anything. So emailed Ticketmaster back, said, still haven't heard anything. No reply that evening. Tuesday morning, sat here, computer on, and just after 9 o'clock, got a ping from Ticketmaster saying that instructions had been sent. Followed the link to download a PDF, which is fine. It told us that the meet and greet was starting at 5:15. Be there on time because they need to finish at 6 so that the performers can get ready for the performance at 7:30. I mentioned this twice in one A4 PDF. What really bugged me, apart from a late notice, I mean, it's about an hour's drive for us to Bournemouth. I'm sure some people would have been travelling from further afield. Fortunately, I'd booked the week off work, so I didn't have to, work it round finishing work. But if I'd have been at work yesterday morning, it would have been a panic getting ready to leave. And what also bugged me was this was a form PDF. It looked like the only thing that changed was the start time. So my guess is that they change the start time depending on how many meet and greets they've sold, so that it finishes at 6 regardless. And then they allow, 2 or 3 minutes per person, if you like, for the meet and greet. So that would have made it. It turns out they sold 20, so 4 to 2 would be about right for that. But they must have known at least, 2-3 days beforehand exactly how many meet and greets they sold. They're not going to sell, I wouldn't have thought, many last minute meet and greets. So why they didn't send that out a couple of days earlier, just to stop the panic, I don't know. But that said, it was fine. We got there plenty of time. Had something to eat in Bournemouth, then went to the theatre. There was a little signing desk there, but there was nobody manning it. There was a few people milling around, so we just waited about 5:05, I think. They sat down at the desk and they had a list of all our names. We had to show our tickets as well. We were given our lanyards. And we were given our signed programme. Now, last year, the signed programme was it was pre-signed, but it was handed to us by the cast. I think Jay gave them to us last year, but this time we were given them on sign-in. So, this was the signed programme. So, signed by Harry, Lewis, and Aston. So we had those. We had to wait a bit longer. Then, just after past, we got taken down to the Lucullus room, who, having googled, it's named after a Roman politician who supported the arts. And we're waiting outside. And we're waiting outside. Now remember, these instructions said, be there at 5:15 prompt because it must finish by 6 so I can get ready. 5:45 we got taken in. We sort of queued up and in groups, as we were, the groups of people who were together, went up and met them. We were the third bunch to go up. The lads were stood there. Mum headed to the left and went to Harry. I headed to the right and went to Aston. Shook his hand. I spotted I was the only guy there, so I said, "Hi, I'm the token bloke for this afternoon." And he sort of laughed and he looked and said, "Yeah, to be fair enough, you are." So we had a little laugh about that. Said hello to Lewis. Moved on. Said hello to Harry. Meanwhile, Mum crossed over. Said to Harry, I'm a huge McFly fan, which I am, and he thanked me very much. Then we started chatting. I mainly chatted to Harry and Lewis. We were talking about the show. Lewis asked if we'd been last year, and I said, yeah, how much we enjoyed it. But I was looking forward to this one even more because 60s is more my era. So we were talking about the music and how it's a good fallback because and apparently the show went wrong in Manchester. They had problems with the screens and some of the cues didn't work, but everybody still enjoyed it because there's still the music to fall back on. That's how the conversation went, but it was a nice relaxed conversation. Mum had been talking to Aston and the topic of the Beatles had come up, so Mum told him her Beatles story, which in short was that she bunked off grammar school to buy tickets to see them live. It got found out, she got suspended, it ended up on the front page of the Telegraph. Short version. He made her tell that to Lewis and Harry, which she, of course she did. Then we posed for a photo. Very, very talented guy. He had my phone taking pictures in one hand and he had Mum's camera in the other hand. Took a couple on Mum's, I think, and he took 5 on mine, one of which won't be shown because Mum was talking at the time. But these are the photos of the meet and greet. So yeah, then we moved up, thanked them all. I shook each of their hands, wished them a good show. They said, hope you enjoy it. And we went down, we had about an hour to kill then in the bar. And we went into the show, which was fantastic. We were part of the VIPs that you had front row seats, and I was probably the first person to book because we had first 2 in the middle, seats 19 and 20, which was centre stage. So excellent view. Brilliant show. Band were great, singer was great, and she gave me a nice big smile at the end when I was singing along to Aretha Franklin's R.E.S.P.E.C.T. or Respect, whatever you want to call it. The supporting dancers were excellent, and some nice eye candy for me, and the boys were excellent. They're all great dancers. They all had little segments showing them off, and then they did routines together and mass routines, and it was all nice combinations. Harry did some drumming. Aston did a fair bit of singing. Lewis did a little gymnastics section as part of one of the routines on a mini pommel horse, and he also sang a couple of songs, which was a pleasant surprise. Very good voice. But yeah, really good evening, really enjoyed it. Said in the programme to find out more about next year's show, and sure enough at the end they said we hope to see you next year for Rip It Up the 70s. I'm sure we'll be going, depending on the cast, quite possibly get the meet and greets again. Don't think it'll be Lewis next year because according to the programme after this he's concentrating on training for the 2020 Olympics, so I can't see him doing the second tour. Possibly we might get Aston and Harry again, might get an entirely new cast, but we shall see. Bound to be a good show, although we'll probably have an ABBA bit. But I can go like that for that. But yeah, really good experience, really nice people, great show. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe if you want, and thank you for watching. Bye.